I'm in aperture priority mode, so I select the aperture and the camera selects the shutter speed. And you can see I've got my aperture at f8 here, and the camera has said that the shutter speed should be 1/100th of a second. Okay, so let's see what happens if I go a full stop, a full step smaller aperture to f11. So that should let less light in, and that's going to make my shutter speed half as fast. So it should go to 1/50th. So now sometimes that happens. You see it went to 1/40th and then to 1/50th. Sometimes it's close just because it's going in between, but yes, it went to 1/50th. Now let's go another full stop. I'm going to f16, so that should cut that in half, 1/25th. And you see there again, oh, 1/20th, 1/25th. So now this is still exposed correctly. Look at the background. It's not completely in focus, but that chair in the background is actually a little bit more in focus than it was back at f8. Let's go back to f8. It's a little bit blurrier. So now I'm at f8. I'm at 100th of a second. Let's go to one stop wider, letting more light in. So that's f5.6. And now it's gone from 1/100th to 1/200th of a second. So it is giving me a faster shutter speed. Let's let more light in. Let's go back to that aperture and move it to f4. And it should be 1/400th of a second. And you'll notice there it is, 1/400th of a second. And the background, as we do this, is getting blurrier and blurrier. And sometimes those, as you noticed before, it might change a little bit between two numbers, but generally that's what's gonna happen. So let's go f4, f2.8 is going to give me 1/800th of a second. There it is. And now it's flipped up between 1/800th and 1/1000th. And let's go down to 2. That should give me 1/2000th of a second. And f1.4 should give me 1/4000th of a second. And it's actually giving me a little bit slower shutter speed, and you can see it's a bit darker. But what I want you to focus on there is the background. Look how blurry the background is now compared to, let's take a shot at f8 and see how much more in focus that chair is. And look at the things in the background when I go to f16. Not quite in focus, but more in focus. And that chair is now more in focus than it was before. So explore those shutter speeds and aperture, and use aperture mode. Take a look at what happens when you change your aperture and how that affects the depth of field, how much is in focus in the background. Give it a shot.